C.W. Anderson, author of Rebuilding the News, Metropolitan Journalism in the Digital Age. If someone buys this book, what do they get?
I think they get a lot of things, but I think probably the most interesting thing they get is sort of, a first-hand account of how the news business in the American city has changed over the past, 10 or 15 years. And it's, sort of an academic story, but it's also a real drama. I mean, you have, you know, uh, people's lives changing who are journalists, people who are reporters, um, fear of layoffs, people worried that newspapers are going to collapse or go bankrupt, and what do we do when they do? So you get kind of an academic history of how journalism is changing in the era of the internet, but you also get a real human story about how people's lives have been affected who work in the news industry, sort of dealing with the economic and technological changes that they've had to deal with.
When you decided you wanted to write this book, how'd you start?
So I was in graduate school, and I was sort of a blogger, I guess, at a very early, when that was sort of new, and people didn't know what blogs were, maybe in 2000, 2001. And I was just doing this stuff on my own. And, I kind of got to know the sort of journalists who were writing blogs and who were, communicating with each other and talking to each other and linking. And it was kind of this new big thing. I mean, now we look at blogs, old media almost, but at the time was very new and exciting. And that got me interested in how the news business in general was changing, because this form that I'd been participating in, this way of writing that I'd been participating in, seemed to have some impact on what was going on in the news. So I said, hey, it seems like technology is changing journalism. How? And that was sort of the first step. And then there were many more steps after that, but that was the first one. Doing this thing, doing this blogging, and then seeing it impacting these really important institutions like the news industry.